I have been telling y'all that white folks in this country about white fear. They cannot handle the browning of America. So this was a segment on Fox News. And look, that's like king of the white folks, all right? And so check this out. They question whether certain cultures actually belong in America at all. So commentator Kaylee McGee White, oh, that's a great last name, Kaylee McGee White, here we go. She said it's asinine that people can't openly claim some cultures are, quote, quite literally incompatible. All right, so here's the video.
We do not have any obligation whatsoever to anyone to allow them entry into our country and to all of the benefits that offers. We don't have any obligation to do that. And quite frankly, it's asinine that we can't have a realistic policy conversation about how certain cultures are quite literally incompatible with ours. It should be okay to say that. And more importantly, it should be okay to base our immigration policy on that. So I'm glad that President Trump is taking some steps in that direction because it is a long time coming.
All right, so let me unpack that, all right? So what you're now seeing, you're seeing this in the United States, and you're seeing this, the same white folks in European countries. It's now becoming a reality to them that they stop screwing and they stop having kids, and you cannot have a future if you don't have people. So what is the most populous and the fastest growing continent? It's Africa. Okay, average age is 17. All right, so when you're talking about the future, where do you think people are going to be coming from? So Elon Musk is constantly tweeting about the birth rates, the falling birth rates. He is flat out infatuated with the falling birth rates. Why? Because it's white people. White people in America stop screwing. They stop having kids. White people in Germany, white people in Italy, white people in Finland, white people in Ireland, white people in England. You can go all across Europe, these Western nations, and they stop screwing. So now they're freaking the hell out. They're freaking out because of black people. They're freaking out because of African immigrants. They're freaking out because of Latinos. And so that's what you're seeing. And so I need people to understand the attacks that you're seeing in America right now, you're seeing happening all across the globe, because right now, 2/3 of the world we've known for decades, 2/3 of the world people of color. But now, that was fine when the Asians were in their countries and the Africans were in their countries, Latinos were in their country. The problem now is you cannot have a future if you do not have people. I've done this segment way too many times. Y'all, it's real simple. It's very simple. And that is this here. So let me just break it down to you. Let's say right now you got a family. Mom and daddy had 8 kids. Let's say those 8 kids have 4 of those kids don't have any kids. That means that only 4 of their kids have children. Let's say they have 2 each. So you go from 8 children to having 4 kids having 2 each. That's now 8. But let's say 6 of those kids choose not to have any children. Well, guess what? Your bloodline is going to actually decline, because if you have a decreased birth rate, you're not going to have a family lineage. It's the exact same thing. In this country, you have to have people in order for you to continue. So when you look at a city or a town, a shrinking population, that means people move. Why is the Midwest of the country massive amounts of land and few people? Because you no longer have manufacturing jobs in those places. So if you grew up with a manufacturing plant in your small town of Iowa, Indiana, Illinois, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Ohio, those Rust Belt states, now all of a sudden manufacturing plant leaves. If you're a kid in that particular town, you ain't staying in your town because ain't no jobs in your town. So you're going to move somewhere else. What then happens? You're not replacing the population. All right, maybe a lot of y'all don't understand. Let me explain it to you from a church. When you actually run into a preacher, and a preacher says, oh, I have 10,000 members. Nah, that's not really how real preachers count their population. A real preacher doesn't count individuals. A real preacher counts families. Families mean future growth. And so when the preacher says we have 2,500 families, what then happens? Mom, dad, at a church, they have kids. Kids are Christian in that particular church. What do they have? They have graduations. They go to college. They get married. All those things that happen typically in that particular church. Well, if you're transient and all of a sudden, if you had 2,000 families or 1,000 families or 500 families or 200 families, now 5 years later, you have, let's say you're a small church, you got 200 families. Let's say 5 years later, you now have 160 families. Guess what goes down? Tithing goes down, volunteer goes down, workers go down. And so if you start decreasing the number of families, you're no longer going to have a church in 10, 20, 30 years. The same thing happens with population. So what these crazy deranged MAGA white folks, they are upset because what they want, they say, oh no, we want people like ourselves. So Donald Trump, he wants white people imported. That's why he's targeting white South Africans. They didn't go to the G20, so we're not going to the G20 because the South African president talked bad about us. No, you called them shithole countries, and so that's what you did. So you need to understand what's going on here. I need y'all to listen to the language of these right-wing conservatives. They are speaking whiteness, and that's what this segment was all about. Thelma, I keep trying to get our people to understand this, and that's why these attacks, like when I listen to these dumbass FBA people who attack black immigrants, not realizing 10% of black population in America are black immigrants. And so for us to be sounding like them on immigration is pretty stupid, because that's literally the future population. It's coming from African nations. So we're idiotic, trashy folk who look like us, and we're sounding like these crazy, racist, white MAGA folks.
Listen, the one thing that I picked up on her whole conversation is the fact that they don't like each other. That's the reason why they haven't continued with their lineage to grow, and now they're behind and they're looking like, oh, we got to deport all of the immigrants because if we don't, then we're going to be outnumbered. Y'all were outnumbered when y'all came over here and stole this land. Y'all were outnumbered when y'all stole us. Y'all have been stealing since the inception of you all coming over here to steal land, and y'all are concerned about the individuals that y'all stole labor, stole body parts, stole human life from, taking over. We don't care, because if we started telling y'all that y'all need to be deported because y'all not really supposed to be here anyway, and y'all have no legitimacy here anyway. So if we really compare who's supposed to be in here, who don't, and who actually built this country on their backs, then they will be shipped out, not even with first class. They need to be shipped out the way that they came, in the thieves that they are.
I mean, Cameron, the reason that's hilarious, there was a clip I saw of Alina Habba, and she was going off on television. Man, I should have pulled that clip. She was going off. Oh, here it is. She's been railing about safe harbor and bragging that, quote, America is America because we protect our own. This heifer's parents fled to America from Iran. I mean, it's amazing. You take Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller's own family says, well, if there was no immigration, he could not have been born here, and he would have been born somewhere else. It's amazing to listen to these people. When I was debating Patrick Bet-David, that crazy conservative, he's from Iran. He's talking about same thing, and I'm like, take your ass back to your country. It's amazing how these folk, like even some of the Latino voters, voted for a Trump immigration crackdown. I'm like, wait a minute. So you crossed illegally, but now you good, but now you want to send other folks back. So it's amazing listening to it, but really, when you hear these white folks say it, their whole deal is they want America to remain pure. to remain white. They want blonde hair, blue eyes. That's what they want. And everything about their agenda is about whiteness. And that is the agenda of MAGA, of Trump, and today's Republican Party. And that's why they have no problem with Nick Fuentes. That's why they have no problem with racists, because they know those are their voters.
The great American experiment, the democratic experiment, this country and how we were set up and how we have evolved has never really been seen in modern civilization before. And I think it is built with its ugly past of, like I said, erasure of the Native Americans as well as slavery has still continue to evolve, and our strength is it has been in our diversity of this country from its inception to now. When we sit here and on other segments of other shows, you talk about how our education system is becoming unaffordable, or we're dumbing our kids down and not as many people are getting educated. Where do you think the minds of the future are going to come on to power our next great American innovations, power our next great American companies? We're needing those H-1B visas to source talent from all over the world. Where do you think the diversity in our food, our culture, our language, so much of the texture, our entertainment, and so many of the great ideas, people flee to America because they think this is a place they can come and they can have that right mix of people, the right mix of laws, the right mix of protections to be able to build the next great American company that further strengthens our power as a country and for us. So I think this is when I hear such asinine kind of comments like that about shutting our borders, where they're very overtly saying things like, we don't want black and brown folks, we don't want people from these other countries, even though that's where some of the smartest folks may come from. That's where some of the hardest working people that come from, and those that have built the texture of every city, every rural, every state in the union. um it's both scary, but it's something that if every true American, whether you are born here, whether you are naturalized, whether you are here on a visa, and this is just the country that as you have now made home, uh, our diversity is our strength. And I know they see that power dwindling, and they see this is no longer this is no longer as white of an America as it used to be. But I do believe that there are so many folks that see the power in our diversity, and really believe those lines that are on the Statue of Liberty that say, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. We We've got to continue to immigrate some of the best and folks from all over the world to this great country of America.
But the whole key here, Thelma, is I want our people to understand that this is policy. This is their agenda. And so we cannot be participants in the white supremacist ideology that these folks are advancing and advocating. And it's some black folks who are sounding just like these crazy ass white folks.
Listen, it it always is that one or that few that is going to go against the grain and do what they see, quote unquote, their masters do and participate in the foolery of it all. And I'll be looking like, did your ancestors come to you last night to remind you how the hell you got here and what the hell they went through in order for you to even be here, to have a voice, to be able to talk so reckless that you are and be irresponsible? It bothers me to see our own people think that we are still not a part of the damn struggle. The reason why they are going on this rampage is because their fears are being seen and being put out in front of their faces to actually see digitally that, oh shit, like our worst fears of the brown people utilizing their skills, the ones that we used to utilize for free and we used to try to keep them from being able to flourish, is coming, and it's coming in the masses. And to see our own people sit up here and participate, and I'm like, are you did you take your medicine? Because you cannot be on the same damn planet, and the planet that The reason why we are in this position to have the power that we do have is because we come from a lineage that had to fight so fucking hard, and to see you trying to participate, or no, not trying, but participate in the bullshit of it all, we gonna ship you out. If you want to go with them, you can go with them. But as far as the ones that we got to fight for to maintain the fact that we are here for a reason and we are not going anywhere. No, we can't have any cracks. And these cracks in the ceiling is causing the roaches to come in. And I ain't talking about us.
Oh, absolutely. All right, folks. 30 years ago, one D magazine article posed the question: Fort Worth still hasn't answered who really runs the city, and what is the Fort Worth way anyway? Well, the 817 podcast sat down with a journalist to put that phrase on the map, Katie Sherrod, longtime journalist, and she talked about how power works in Fort Worth was changed since the 90s and what it's going to take to change it now. But here's the deal. I want y'all to listen to what she says about race and whiteness and what happens, how we got to make white folk comfortable in discussing race. Check this out.
We have to go back to our history. Texas is a state. We fought for independence, not out of some grand thing like the Declaration of Independence, was because we wanted to keep on owning slaves. Mexico was going to outlaw slavery, and we didn't like that. We wanted to keep owning other human beings, and so we had a war, and we won our independence so we could do that. So white supremacist ideology is embedded in the DNA of this state, and it is embedded in the DNA of this city, and we kid ourselves if we think it's not. Yeah. It's embedded in white people's DNA. I can say I'm not racist all day long, but that's bull, because the world I grew up in layered that in me, and it's a daily fight for me to remember that, acknowledge it, and try to overcome it, because it's a problem for me. I do not mind being made uncomfortable by that. But I would say at the heart of it, the base of the Fort Worth Way is let's not make rich white people uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Please do not make rich white people uncomfortable. Yeah. Early on, they had a good gig going because they were mentoring younger people and younger generations, and they got to pick which people that look like you got into the room. Well, that was done very carefully. And that the Black community and the Hispanic community weren't stupid. They knew if they were going to get into the room, they had to be really, really smart about it. And they were, and they did, and they made some amazing changes. So I always resist any effort to say, well, they just gave up. They never gave up. They haven't given up to this day. The persistence is what amazes me. The fact that they haven't shot us all kind of amazes me. But the persistence and the resilience of those communities are something that everyone should honor and emulate. I just think that niceness is the curse of this city.
Thelma, first of all, Katie nails it. First of all, she lays out the history when she says, wait a minute, how did this state actually come about? Texas independence was about slavery. They don't want to discuss that. The Texas governor, the lieutenant governor, they don't want to focus on that. But again, the whole point about making white folks comfortable dealing with race. What we're facing now, everything now, and I keep telling everybody, the history of Black America, a period of Black success, always talk about white backlash. These white folks have been pissed off because of what happened after George Floyd. They have been angry that there was a consciousness that was raised. They were angry that white folks are being called into account. That's why they're making these videos, don't blame us, we didn't do this here. That's what we're seeing right here. And we need to understand what we're up against. These people are playing for keeps, and so they want to attack everything, and that's why they're attacking Black books and Black professors, attacking Black educators and Black historians and Black history.
Listen, Fort Worth has a deep-rooted history of discrimination, racism, and it is still present to this day. Right now, Fort Worth, out of the DFW and probably out of the whole state of Texas, has the most discrimination or racial payouts through HR because it is so it's just massive. They're so comfortable with discriminating and using their whiteness to try to oppress individuals who we free. How you gonna try to oppress somebody in a workplace and think that it is okay? It's so bad in Fort Worth that they had to go and hire a independent investigation organization to remove them from having to investigate, to remove any impartiality that was very clear. So when I look at Fort Worth as a whole, and being someone that has experienced that as a Black educated woman while I was a municipal court judge, and seeing that Black women or Black and browns are discriminated the most, and I never thought that that was going to be the case until becoming a part of the line that they cross. And when you don't allow them to cross that line, like she said, play nice. I don't fucking play nice with these people because one, I got one life to live, and I'm not gonna let you live my life by trying to tell me what I can and cannot do with my educated Black self. So to see that conversation that she had, and also to know that Fort Worth is still walking that line, and they're going to continue to walk that line, and what she said, they're upset. They're even more angry now because they're seeing the rise of the individuals being empowered to remove the bullshit that they're seeing after being bamboozled by individuals that were supposed to help. So I don't know if Fort Worth ever is gonna have a line that they don't fucking cross when we're talking about this particular issue, because it's bad, and even the minorities participate in that bullshit.
Well, Cameron, look, I worked at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, my second job out of college, and I know exactly what Thelma was talking about. And in fact, people need to understand, we've had this show for 7 years, and the year before we started this show is when you had the sister who was trying to vote, who did not vote. The vote was not cast, and they have still been trying to put that sister in prison, Crystal Mason, the last 8 years. The district attorney there in Fort Worth, and I've been saying to Black folks in Fort Worth, the rallying cry in Fort Worth for every Black person should be, take this racist white man out. In fact, the white Tarrant County judge, they gerrymandered the seat. They got rid of Elisa Simmons because they felt that she was too mouthy a Black woman. And so it was 3 Republicans, 2 Democrats. They changed the map down. It's going to be 4-1. Again, attacking that sister. And so what we have to understand is, and again, I think for all these people, the illusion of inclusion is real. And I think what has happened is, and again, I call myself a post-civil rights movement baby, because I look at the assassination of Dr. King really as the end of the Black freedom movement, the civil rights movement. And of course, remember, the modern movement began today, really began Friday, but 70 years ago. It was today when Rosa Parks was arrested on a bus in Montgomery. What we have to understand is what we are seeing. These folks, they don't want us in the room. And now you have a racist in the White House who has said it's all good. He has actual individuals who say they have a Nazi streak, individuals who have spoken at racist conferences, and they are still in his administration. There is an acceptance of racism by Trump, by the folks who are there, and they're saying it's all good. You can say what you want, do what you want, because we have your back. In fact, I just got this tweet here, Cameron. If you want to understand how crazy these people are, this actually, I got this text moment ago. This is Ken Delaney, and it's a justice correspondent for MS Now. He said, in a surprising departure from decades of settled law, The Trump Justice Department is making the argument that the anti-discrimination provision of the 1964 Civil Rights Act doesn't apply to federal workers, according to a new lawsuit filed against it today. 1 out of 5 federal workers are black, Cameron. Again, whiteness on display.
And the worst part is they're not even hiding it. I think the more and more I hear from folks who are saying, trying to come up with other reasons and other ways to say what is happening is, oh, it's economic, oh, it's protecting American values, oh, it's this and it's that, and it is not just calling it for what it is. It is racism in multiple forms. I think we're coming to a reckoning, and I know me personally, I'm tired of having to be in places where it's on the oppressed to make the oppressors or the people, the beneficiaries of racism, to feel more comfortable about talking about it. I know it's not a comfortable conversation to have, whether you're white, black, Latino, anything, Asian, doesn't matter. But it is a reality of our system. It is a reality of our society. It is a reality of so many different people and people in power. I tend to argue, and I tend to be optimistic that I don't think most people here are racist, or I definitely don't think most white folks or folks in general are racist here in America. Most people want to see everybody be given a fair shot and do what we do to make it an even playing field. But that even playing field is going to mean they're going to have to invest in the folks who've been systematically left behind for hundreds of years. But I think this is just one more thing that we have to realize. If they're coming after like you said, those civil rights protections and saying they don't apply to the federal workforce, this is not only attacking black wealth, this is black economic power, black jobs, and black political power as well. They're looking to destabilize every different access point of power that black folks and non-white folks have throughout the entire country.
Folks, you want to understand this, and again, I need y'all. I keep telling y'all, pay attention to media. Pay attention to what you're hearing. So Tucker Carlson and Piers Morgan, two assholes I really can't stand, they faced off over the claim that winning World War II, quote, destroyed Britain. Now, Morgan challenged Carlson's assertion that the UK fought the Germans without necessity and that immigration had ruined the country. But I need y'all to listen to what he's saying, because Tucker Carlson, again, who interviewed Nick Fuentes, Trump loves him, even though Carlson knows Trump is an idiot. This is one of the people that they're looking to. So if you listen to Tucker Carlson, if you listen to Megyn Kelly, if you listen to Clay Travis, if you listen to any one of those fools on Fox News, there's a consistent theme in terms of their whole white view. Check it out.
This was not a communist country, but I'm just saying Britain voluntarily joined the war. It was a war that you were not involved in and you got in. But my question is, why did it destroy Britain? I don't understand. As the victor nation.
It didn't destroy Britain.
Well, look outside.
Look outside.
We're in the city of London.
Hang on. There's Tower Bridge. It's the Tower of London. Magnificent.
Well,
it
changed London.
Why do you look at this and see a wrecked country? I don't.
Well, I don't see an English country. So we're in the city of London now.
What do you mean there? What do you mean by that?
It's not. Well, people whose ancestors built Stonehenge are not here anymore. So the city of London is 36% white, and that's happened in the last, 40 years.
But England is about 70% white.
England.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it was 99% in 1945.
Okay, so we've evolved.
But you're on the way to becoming the minority in the country. So no one wants to say that. I think you can get arrested for saying that here.
Well, no,
that's not white supremacy. This is the indigenous population of the country.
Well, it's a statistical fact that I think by 2100, we will be a minority white country.
2063 as of today.
Well, I've read a bit later.
But these are dynamic numbers, so they change.
Yeah, but here's my question for you. So what?
Well, let me refer to the beginning of our conversation when you said that the people who live in a country define the character of that country. And then you said, yes, all the things for which we were famous and in which we had pride, like our stoicism, our concern for others, our tidiness, the cleanest country in the world now, it's pretty filthy. All those things change when you get new people moving there. You said that. I mean, you're the racist, not me. So I'm just using the parameters that you set.
I did not say that was down to
you didn't say you didn't
white people coming to the country.
Well, that's who lived here.
I don't believe that.
No, but that's what you said.
I said there was creaking pressure on public services.
No.
From the increased population.
You also maybe foolishly admitted the truth. You could get arrested for this. So I know the stakes are high. But you said that when the people who live in a country change, so does the culture, which is like the most obvious. It's like when it rains out, it gets wet. That's not a controversial observation, but it's illegal here because it is true. And my only point is not against, I've already said, I like the Bangladeshis better than I like the liberal whites in your country. A lot more. They've never yelled at me. I'm not attacking them. I'm just saying the things that made Britain, England. Is there still an England? I have no idea. Those are going away because there are different people living here. And if you think that those are good things in the same way that the Swedes or the Chinese or the people in Burundi and Chad, they like their culture. It's their ancestors' culture. And now it's gone. And why can't we say that's bad?
Well, because you may think it's bad.
It's good?
I love living in a very multicultural
But you're rich. I mean, you're rich. And you go to the white parts of London, and they're exactly the same as they were when I was a child. I've been coming here for 50 years. They're exactly the same. What neighbor was saying is exactly the same.
Which do you think is a white part of London?
I'm not going to tell you.
Well, that's a little test for you. Which area of London do you think is white?
The one I'm staying in right now. The one where my relatives live.
Where?
I'm not going to say.
No, you don't want to say because you know that I'll immediately say, come on, there's loads of non-white people living there. There's no
By the way, I'm not against non-whites.
There's no exclusively white area of London. There's not.
Lord, these white folks are tripped. Thelma, the look on your face.
Just really? Like, forget global warming, forget climate change. The people coming in and migrating into a country that is non-white is running down the damn country. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, if we're being really for real here, and if they really want the truth, some of the dirtiest people to me are them. They don't bath. They don't wash their damn hair. They don't wash their damn hands when they go in the damn bathroom, which is very disgusting. They don't know how to fucking clean. That's why they hire people to come clean for them because they go out and they fuck everything up. They are known as the fuck ups. If it was not for immigrants, they would perish. So for him to sit in his white privilege to try to reduce and say immigrants are and cultures are the reason that a country is dirty. Sir, I'm looking at a piece of dirt right in front of me talk about other people being dirty. Like, these white people have the fucking audacity. I would not eat from a closed can if it came from them without fucking inspecting it because they don't have proper fucking hygiene for one. But you want to talk about other people, other immigrants, and people from other cultures? Oh, hell no.
Cameron?
I'm not sure. I don't know how to follow that. But when I saw that, it just is remarkable that these kind of conversations, and Tucker Carlson is just saying that like right into a mic. I was like, does he realize the cameras are on? And I know he can probably speak that freely because he's in England and he's trying to make that false equivalency to that. And here's the time where I wouldn't think I'm over here. I couldn't have told you the day where I'd be avidly defending Piers Morgan's position on this, but for at least him to offer some level of saneness to the conversation, to understand that the diversity that has come to London and that has come to England and the United Kingdom has been a net good thing. But I think this just further points to understanding that like there are folks who have this belief. There are folks who are following the Tucker Carlsons and the Megyn Kellys of the world in hearing both their overt and subversive rhetoric. And this layered on top of all the different things that you see coming out of Stephen Miller, on top of layering what we just learned in the previous segment with Delano and his reporting on terms of the erasure of Black history, the erasure of Black books, the erasure of data on Black people and on non-white folks here in this country. This is just becoming a perfect storm of folks where I hope there is how we normally see a white lash after Black progress. I'm hoping this is the rally and beginning of a blacklash against this pushback, and for us to reclaim so much more of our power and to build a diverse coalition. This is something that is not just going to happen because Black people decide to stand up. This is all Americans are going to have to stand up and fight up against this.
Yeah.
Well, we know a bunch of those people are absolutely afraid to stand up and fight, and that's how that goes.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase, and I'm here with a very important message. We are at a turning point in the Black community where we must have equity in the apps we use that scale to billions of dollars. But this time, we own the infrastructure, we own the culture, and we shape the future. And Fanbase is the future. Fanbase combines the free functionality of Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube into an all-in-one platform built for the evolution of social media and monetization. With over 1.4 million users, that's real proof that we are shifting the conversation of tech ownership and equity for creators. So right now, I want you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $665 a share. This marks a turning point in Black ownership of social media. If we don't take this opportunity to own social media right now, we will always be customers to our own creations. And that can't go on. So once again, go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest today. We must own the platforms where our voices live, our stories matter, and where our culture drives the world. Thank you.